Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an analysis of a really provocative book from 1969. It was a big deal when it came out, heavily promoted, and then it just sort of vanished. But the source material we're looking at today argues this wasn't just a book of ideas. It was actually a blueprint for the world we're starting to see take shape right now.
So what's this all about? Well, the source material zeroes in on this book called the Prometheus Project, and the central mystery is how something so hyped could just disappear. The core argument is that this wasn't just theory, it was a direct proposal for how to actively shape the future of the human race.
You see, this book wasn't just predicting the future. It laid out a detailed plan for what it called directed human evolution. The idea wasn't to guess what was coming, but to actively create it.
And the author, a scientist named Gerald Feinberg, was not subtle about it. He wasn't talking in what-ifs or maybes. He was openly calling for us to use technology to fundamentally change what it means to be human.
Okay, so who is this guy, right? Who is the architect behind this pretty wild vision? Let's take a look at the man behind the project.
Now, this is what's really fascinating. Feinberg wasn't some fringe character writing from his basement. He was an elite physicist at Columbia University, published by Doubleday, a major publishing house. And that mainstream credibility is so important here, because it makes his radical ideas carry a totally different kind of weight.
So how did Feinberg justify something this extreme? Well, his whole argument was built on what he saw as a single, urgent problem. Humanity needed a unified, long-term goal to survive.
Basically, his argument went like this. Our technology is advancing so incredibly fast that if we don't all get on the same page with one single goal, we're going to end up destroying ourselves. To avoid that, he believed we had to rally behind one single, massive objective.
So what Feinberg was really pushing for was a huge shift. He wanted to move us away from slow, random, natural evolution and toward a fast, technologically guided evolution, one where humanity itself is in the driver's seat.
And let's be crystal clear here. We're not talking about small improvements. Feinberg was calling for the total reconstruction of man, a fundamental transformation of our species into something entirely new.
Okay, so if the goal is to literally remake humanity, how on earth did he propose we actually do it?
Well, Feinberg openly talked about a whole toolkit for making this happen on a mass scale. We're talking behavioral conditioning, chemical and electrical brain stimulation, even biological engineering. And get this, the stated aim was to instill specific traits into the entire population.
And here's where it gets even more, let's say, ethically murky. Feinberg basically argued that if the end goal was a happier society, then the methods you used to get there, even if they were manipulative, were less important. In his mind, the ends absolutely justified the means.
So, after laying out the why and the how, the book finally reveals its ultimate objective, its true endgame for all of humanity.
And the source video we're looking at frames this moment like the big reveal in a horror film, you know? The part where the villain finally explains their terrifying master plan. And it's right there, in plain English, on page 180 of the book.
And there it is. Not a better society, not world peace, but a technologically enabled hive mind, a state where all individual consciousnesses would merge into a single collective entity. Let that sink in for a second.
And again, this wasn't being sold as science fiction. It was a non-fiction proposal from a mainstream scientist, literally laying out a path to plug all human minds together using technology.
So how would you get everyone to sign up for something that radical? Well, the very first step Feinberg laid out was a massive propaganda campaign, using the mass media to convince the entire population that this was actually a good thing.
Which brings us to right now. Why does a 50-year-old book even matter? Well, the source material draws some pretty direct lines from Feinberg's 1969 proposal to the technologies and ideas that are all around us at this very moment.
When you look at it this way, a clear line starts to emerge, doesn't it? You've got the proposal in '69, then a media push in the '80s, social media connecting us all in the 2010s, and now, today, we're developing things like Neuralink, VR metaverses, and brain-computer interfaces. The tech seems to be catching up with the vision.
I mean, think about what the biggest tech corporations are building right now. The pieces seem to align almost perfectly. You have brain interfaces creating the direct connection, virtual worlds creating the shared space, and AI providing the tools for mass behavioral analysis and direction.
The takeaway from this analysis is, well, it's pretty chilling. In this future of total technological integration, the collective system is everything. The autonomous individual, as we know it, just doesn't really have a place anymore. And all of this leaves us with one final provocative question to chew on. In a world where all minds are connected, who or maybe what is sitting at the control panel? Thanks for joining this explainer.